a very good evening. 18 pig farms on the mainland have been banned from supplying live pigs to Hong Kong and Macau. Pigs in more than 20 provinces have died from African swine fever, which is now spread further in southern China. The city's fresh pork supply relies heavily on live pigs imported from Guangdong province. In fact, the province supplies 1.6 million hogs to Hong Kong every year. Today, Guangdong reported its third African swine fever outbreak, this time in Huizhou. 11 pigs at a farm died from the disease. Mainland authorities have now banned more farms from sending live pigs to Hong Kong and Macau. All 18 farms are located in provinces where African swine fever outbreaks were reported, with 17 in Guangdong, at places such as Zhuhai, Zhongshan, Guangzhou and Huizhou. That's according to an updated list published by China's General Administration of Customs today. Local figures show a drop in the number of live pigs entering Hong Kong from the mainland this month. At its peak, almost 5,000 live pigs were imported to Hong Kong, but the figure dropped to less than 2,000 on Sunday. Even as the wholesale price rose, butchers are reluctant to increase the retail price for fear that it will drive potential customers away. It's hardly surprising as some locals are already consuming more chicken and beef as reports of African swine fever outbreaks continue. Authorities, though, have repeatedly stressed the viral disease infects pigs, but not humans or other animals. 6 vehicles crashed outside Terminal 1 of Hong Kong International Airport this morning. Police are looking for a man suspected of furious driving, but he escaped by jumping several floors from Terminal 1. The man was reportedly driving this grey vehicle before he made his escape outside the Terminal 1 building. He left behind a female passenger. The 26-year-old woman was arrested for drug trafficking and possession of instrument fit for the smoking of dangerous drug. That's after police officers found in the car 14 grams of suspected ice drug valued at over $7,000. Police say at about 5 a.m, the pair sped through a roadblock set up for breathalyzer tests near Chengqing Tunnel. From there, the vehicle raced on the Lantau Link along the North Lantau Highway over to Airport South Interchange before arriving at Terminal 1. The car then smashed into a taxi which bumped into a van in front. 3 other police vehicles that failed to stop soon enough also crashed into each other. An officer injured his leg when he jumped from a high place to give chase. Police are now looking for a Chinese man in his 40s or 50s. Indonesian rescuers have deployed drones and sniffer dogs to search for survivors along the devastated west coast of Java. The region was hit by a series of tsunamis on Saturday that killed at least 373 people. Authorities are expecting the death toll to rise further as the search expands further south. Thick ash clouds continue to spew from Anak Krakatau. That's a volcanic island where a crater collapsed at high tide sent tsunamis smashing into coastal areas on both sides of the Sunda Strait between the islands of Sumatra and Java. More than 1,400 people were injured, with at least 128 still missing.
Stocks tanked across the region following heavy Wall Street losses triggered by US President Donald Trump's attack on the Federal Reserve. Japan's Nikkei 225 fell by an unusually wide margin of 4.8%, while the Shanghai Composite slumped 2.3% at the close. Taiwan and Thailand stocks also ended in the red. That's after Wall Street sank 2% overnight following Trump's tweet that the Fed was the US economy's only problem. US Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin's emergency phone call with the heads of major banks also failed to calm investor concerns. Markets in Hong Kong and Australia were closed for Christmas and will stay closed for Boxing Day tomorrow. South Korea's Kospi was also shut for Christmas but resumes trading tomorrow.
Christmas marked the 4th day of the partial US government shutdown with no end in sight. Most lawmakers fled the capital over the weekend to be with their families. Trump remains at the White House after scrapping plans to spend Christmas at his Florida estate. In a joint statement, the Democratic leaders of Congress, Senator Chuck Schumer and Representative Nancy Pelosi, blamed Trump for the stalemate and for plunging the country into chaos. They pointed to problems beyond the shutdown, including heavy losses on Wall Street and Trump's decision to fire Defense Secretary Jim Mattis.
A US court has ordered North Korea to pay $501 million in damages for the torture and death of US college student Otto Warmbier. Warmbier's parents sued Pyongyang in April over the death of their son. The 22-year-old died just days after he was released from a North Korean prison and returned to the United States in a coma. An Ohio coroner said Warmbier died from a lack of oxygen and blood to the brain. A US District Court judge said North Korea is liable for the torture, hostage-taking and extrajudicial killing of Warmbier and the injuries to his parents. Pyongyang has dismissed the torture claims, instead blaming botulism and ingestion of a sleeping pill as the cause of Warmbier's death. The rulings come at a sensitive time as the two countries negotiate the dismantling of Pyongyang's nuclear weapons program. Former Pakistani Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif has been sentenced to 7 years in prison and fined on corruption charges that he says are politically motivated. The anti-corruption court in Islamabad says the three-time Prime Minister was unable to prove the source of income that had led to his ownership of a steel mill in Saudi Arabia. Under Pakistani law, that is proof of corruption. Sharif had already been sentenced by the same court to 10 years in prison on charges related to the purchase of upscale apartments in London. He was freed from custody in September pending an appeal. Sharif's supporters said he would also appeal against his latest conviction. Welcome back to TVB News on this Christmas Day. Pope Francis urged the developed world to reject materialism as he led Catholics into Christmas. His message of peace and love was echoed by other well-respected figureheads, including Britain's Queen Elizabeth. Jeff Tang reports.
Nearly 10,000 Catholic faithfuls packed into St. Peter's Basilica in Vatican City as Pope Francis led a solemn service for the traditional Christmas Eve Mass. The 82-year-old pontiff used his sixth Christmas Eve homily to attack modern-day consumerism and encourage people to share and give more. Mankind became greedy and voracious, said the leader of the world's 1.3 billion Catholics. Let us ask ourselves, do I really need all these material objects and complicated recipes for living? Can I manage without all these unnecessary extras and live a life of greater simplicity? Francis said the infant Jesus, born in poverty in a stable, should make everyone reflect on the real meaning of life. On Saturday, the Vatican said the pontiff gave the homeless in Rome a Christmas gift of a new clinic in St. Peter's Square, where they can seek medical help for free. Meanwhile, pilgrims from all over the world flocked to Bethlehem for what was believed to be the biblical West Bank city's largest Christmas celebration in years. Performances took place next to the Church of the Nativity, where the Christian faithful believe Jesus was born.
The atmosphere is wonderful. We went inside the Church of the Nativity and we touched the place where Jesus was supposed to be born. I'm here with my 3 children and it's just wonderful.
The Palestinian town in the Israeli-occupied West Bank is enjoying its busiest Christmas in years, with hotels fully booked and the security situation relatively calm.
More trouble for actor Kevin Spacey, who has been charged with groping an 18-year-old teenage boy. It's the first criminal case brought against the star, whose career collapsed last year in the wake of a string of sexual misconduct allegations against him. Spacey is due in court in early January to be arraigned on a charge of indecent assault and battery. In a video posted online, Spacey appeared to sound like Frank Underwood, the character he used to portray in the hit TV show A House of Cards.
Of course, some believed everything and had just been waiting with bated breath to hear me confess it all. They're just dying to have me declare that everything said is true and that I got what I deserved. Wouldn't that be easy? If it was all so simple. Only you and I both know it's never that simple, not in politics and not in life. But you wouldn't believe the worst without evidence, would you? You wouldn't rush to judgments without facts, would you? Did you? No, not you. You're smarter than that.
Back locally, Beijing's top official in Hong Kong is inviting all legislators to a banquet. Wang Zhimin is believed to be returning the hospitality he had received. Wang was invited to a luncheon at LegCo in April. While not all pan-Democrats attended that event, the director of the central government's liaison office in Hong Kong plans to host a lunch for lawmakers on February 19th next year. That message was relayed by LegCo President Andrew Leung. It's unsure if the pro-democracy camp will attend, as Claudia Mo said they have to discuss this when some of her peers are out of town this Christmas.
An influx of tourists has been troubling some local residents, especially those in To Kwa Wan. One of their concerns is the illegal parking of tour buses. More than 10 buses overwhelmed this 100-metre road. Some residents find it hard to hail a taxi as the road is almost completely blocked. Police officers say they will step up enforcement to tackle the issue. They will also suggest better drop-off and pick-up points to tour operators, as well as issuing traffic violation tickets without giving warnings.
And now to dragon boat racing. How is that even possible in December, you may say? Well, in Heilongjiang, they row on ice. Traditional dragon boats glide on a frozen lake, helped along by picks instead of oars. About 100 students from Shanghai, Beijing and Zhejiang competed in the event in minus 30 degrees conditions. There's actually an Ice Dragon Boat Federation. Official races are scheduled for early next year in Mongolia and Tianjin. Canada and Hungary are a couple of places where you'll find international competitions.
And back here in Hong Kong, for the 50th consecutive year, a children's hospital in Pok Fu Lam continued the tradition of spreading joy this Christmas Day. Sharon Tang tells us more.
Santa Claus is coming to town.
Merry Christmas!
The greeting was extra meaningful to these 60 patients currently under treatment here at the Duchess of Kent Children's Hospital at Sandy Bay. The facility mainly provides specialist services to young patients, such as those with neurodevelopmental problems. While many kids may wish for more gadgets and toys, this 4-year-old girl just wants to walk. That's because she suffers from a hip disorder and has been hospitalized here for 3 years. Her father says it's the first time the family has taken part in this event and believes that where there's love, there's hope. Another patient says he wants to become a chef just like his grandfather. The 12-year-old has a rare disorder of the nervous system, making it difficult for him to speak. But he stressed he will never give up on his dream. Also helping to lift spirits were so-called doctor dogs. One owner says she has brought her pet here hoping to spread more holiday joy on this festive day. Merry Christmas! Judging by all the smiles, mission accomplished. Sharon Tang, TVB News.
And that's the news.
Thanks for watching and have a very good Christmas. Bye-bye.